they want to be mobile. So with this free movement, it can create opportunities where ideas and inspiration can collaborations can happen, and people from other countries, they might have the solution to the problem that you're having. So I'll give an example. I am from Nigeria, right? One of the problems we still have not solved is the issue of electricity. I don't believe that we are dumb that we cannot solve it. But and
The
I
never
know a lot
another.
of other country have the solution to this problem. I still believe and I still hope for a future why I'm still alive, that we can have electricity 24/7 consistently and it's affordable. And so again, this can happen because imagine maybe they've already discovered an arc. They've discovered a solution that can work in other countries in other part of Africa because of lack of information sharing, lack of idea collaboration, opportunity to gather and talk and explore together. We are still in the dark age when it comes to electricity. We still have to suffer in silence and in darkness because of that as well. And so these are some of the things that I really believe that this free movement project can really help us to tackle and start helping us to bring Africa to the limelight, because we have potentials. We are brilliant people. Anywhere we are across the world, we are always outstanding. We are always the best of the best of the best of them all. And so why are we not using that opportunity to work together? Why are we not making it easier for us to share ideas, to gather together, to interact together, so that we can help uplift our continent and help each of our countries to progress and move forward?
I wish I could give a clap from here and then the whole world would hear it. But thank you so much, Dr. Omatola, because really, I mean, the audience would agree that if we are to make Africa move, we keep hearing the Africa we want, but it's like little or nothing is done towards the Africa we want. And we have the big guns who keep drafting beautiful and lofty policies, but implementation is almost zero. We are good at drafting this continent that is good at coming up with beautiful policies and agendas. Agenda 2035 for this country, Agenda 2063. And yes, the AU says that they have the African passport and the free movement of persons as a flagship of the Agenda 2063. But until now, we see no efforts. No efforts. But if you read the charter for the free movement of persons, it's so beautifully drafted. It's so beautifully drafted. I really agree with you that we have the best. Across anywhere we go, we represent and we are the best. But what happens? It feels like there is a serious trend of brain drain across from African countries. And there is little or nothing which those in the diaspora can do, because then the means, the platform to implement what they know how best to do in terms of technology and whatever sphere is really, really limited. But we have hope. That is why we are here. Some years back, Yaftamopa was not there, but if Yaftamopa is there today, it means we are making progress. The youths who know that they hold the future of Africa are making a stride. And we hope that our voices can be heard from far and wide, and there will be a change. If you didn't get anything from what Dr. Omatola said, what I gathered is if we are to navigate the international sphere in terms of political, socio-economic, cultural, and to make everyone, the world, see Africa for what it is, then we must unite, because individually it is difficult. We are made up of very, very small countries. We have countries with about 2 million population size, countries with 3 million, and yet we have countries with huge. We have Nigeria, we have South Africa, very populated countries that are far ahead. So we must hold each other's hand. We must come together like the Africa which we ought to be. And unless we pull this string, unless we bond together, it will be difficult for us to navigate this socioeconomic, political, and cultural sphere. Many people, as she said, travel out of Africa for leisure, for business, for studies, not because these things don't exist in other African countries, but because the bureaucracy is so tough. Visas, I mean, sometimes you agree with me, to leave Cameroon and go to Nigeria, it's almost the same price like to leave Cameroon and go to Europe. And yet I have to take maybe 30 to 45 minutes to get to Nigeria by flight. And I take 6 to 7 hours to get to Europe. Why? Why? We need to start asking ourselves these questions. But before we go further to talk and know more from Dr. Omatola, we want to hear from the gentleman in the house. Sir, it's your turn. Tell us what you think about this free movement of persons in Africa.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think the doctor has raised critical points, and
Do you
this point,
mind? Do you mind if we see you? We love to see your face.
the unfortunate part is where I was coming, that she has raised a critical point, the issue of electricity. So where I am right now, we're confronted by power cuts. So I can't even turn on my video because it's dark where I am. So I think this protocol comes at a time where our struggle has reached what we can call a defining moment as young people. It is a parallel initiative to African free trade agreement. It was designed to reduce barriers to African to cross borders. So this protocol comes at a time where, as young people, because we're innovative, because we're full of energy, we can travel from South Africa. Myself, I can go and help Nigeria's crisis on electricity. I don't need a work visa. I don't need a work permit to go and show my solidarity and my expertise of what I know and what I can do towards the development of of this continent. The benefits of the free movement include trade, number one. Number two, investments and cultural understanding, and scientific cooperation. So when we come to scientific cooperation, of late we have been hit by a COVID-19 pandemic. We lost a lot of people. We lost a lot of brothers and sisters. But imagine if this protocol was already at work, people are able to research and share ideas coming from different backgrounds and bringing solution and end to serious problems like pandemics. Look at all the medicine that we buy. These are plants that are grown and are found here in Africa. Even the medication for COVID, it was going to be easy for Africans if our borders were open and were able to research in a way that we want and exchange ideas in a way that we want. I'm telling you, Africa was going to be the first continent to come up with the vaccination for COVID. But unfortunately, we are still caught up in the imperial dilemma where our borders were drawn and were submitted to us by the Berlin Conference. These are the confrontation. But what I can say positively that this free movement protocol is the first step towards the realization of a United States of Africa. The United States of Africa that Kwame Nkrumah, Marcus Garvey spoke about. So imagine that if we're having a United States of Africa, how will be our GDP? How will be our employment rate? How will be how many young people are going to benefit from an open, borderless Africa? Trading, exchanging skills, cultural exchange, academic exchange, research exchange towards the development of our continent. We'll be 3 steps, 4 steps ahead of Europe, ahead of America itself. We'll be giants of this globe. So I think it comes at a very progressive time, and it is
Yeah.
key that us, in particular, as young people, we must be at the forefront of making sure that we conscientize our masses, we conscientize our fellow young people who are not acquainted to this protocol to understand the benefit that comes with this protocol. And also, fundamentally, the role that intellectuals must play, especially people like Doctor here in this platform. They must write articles to help our advocates and simplify this protocol to our fellow Africans. Because intellectuals on their own, they must play a critical role, which is defined by James Miller as he calls it organic intellectualism that
Yeah.
is attached to the general society and the general populace of our people. So the role of academia is very critical to provide even dialogue platforms where this protocol is simplified to a layman, to a village boy like me, to someone who's a vendor working in the streets, how the free movement protocol can unite us as Africans and bring development in Africa and make Africa the world bread basket that we believe we must be. And also, uh, the other thing I think that is important that must be done by intellectuals is to just simplify this thing for us, put it in the layman's language, and publicize articles that young people can access and have conscientized thinking around the free movement of people. Thank you very much, Chair, for now. These are my submissions.
Thank you so much for that, because you just hit the nail on the head, just like the previous speaker. Let us make Africa the bread basket of the world. That is what it is, because that is, we are not short of that. In terms of the resources, we are endowed richly with the resources, but yet we are termed the poorest of the poor. We always beg, as Dr. Mutala said, we always need aid. Somehow, the discussion on aid is a discussion for another day. But yes, because we've been projected in that dimension, we've been put out there as people who are in dire need of a savior at all times. Yet we have the best serving other continents and making and bringing out the best of these continents. And still, we are still seen as the ever impoverished ones. But we hope that the dream of the Pan-Africanists, we heard from the speaker, all the lofty dreams they have from Kwame Nkrumah to the others, may their gentle soul rest in peace. We hope that this dream will not die with them, but we hope that this generation of youth will continue to strive, to push and to make efforts that Africa will not sink as it already is, but through our little efforts, because you don't have to do much. I already have some questions here which are coming in from the viewers. Keep them coming, because yes, we want to hear those questions, and that is why we are here, to learn, to share, and to hear from you as well. So our next speaker will have some words for us also. Amal, let us hear from you.
Okay. I agree with what the other speakers just mentioned about the importance of the protocol and how it will have a very positive, significant impact on Africa. I want to highlight the topic of today,
Yeah.
the importance of the free movement of the students, the schoolers, to move all around Africa without any borders, because involving the schoolers and the students in the campaign is very important, because they will benefit from this, but because they are the future of Africa, so being included in the campaign, in the policy making, and being empowered, this will have a very good impact on the ratification and speeding of the hopefully the young populations need to understand the importance for them to popularize and to advocate for the free movement in Africa. And they need to understand that this will reflect on their future and they will benefit them the most. Africa, the youth are the heart of Africa. They consist of almost
Certainly.
like 70% of Africa. So it's yes, it's a very high number. And this reflects a very high opportunity for the continent's growth. So if these new generations are fully empowered to realize their best potentials, they need to be included in the protocol, in the decision making. They need to have appropriate opportunities for them to work, to innovate. So they need to have
Yeah.
free movement. That's why the topic of today is very important. As the youth here in Africa, they have the energy, they have the creativity, the knowledge, the skills. They just need to share this knowledge with all the African countries. Because as mentioned before, also the lack of sharing of information, this is a very, very important topic. For me, I'm studying. I'm having a master in social sciences and anthropology, and for me, I see from my study that the importance of Africans to study Africa is very significant, because we have people from outside Africa trying to study Africa, to understand Africa, but actually the research made by Africans in Africa is the most impactful and most important one. We need to open up all and understand and try to find solutions for ourselves, by ourselves, not by any parties from outside. So the free movement will have this, will have the solutions without with containing our culture and everything, and having the solutions that suits us.
Yeah.
That's why for today's topic, it's very important for the youth researchers to have access to all African continent, to have the impactful solutions that we aim for. And of course, if the ratification happens, it will have immediate benefits for the students, for the researchers. It will have rapid changes in the economically, socially, scientifically, technologically. We will have cooperations between the countries, and it will be much, of course, it will benefit on the trade and the investment and everything, but it will maintain the money of Africa within Africa, because students and researchers, they travel abroad to the EU countries, and the EU countries what benefits from Africa's money. So the importance to open borders is that we benefit from each other.
Yeah.
So this hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, yes. Sorry, the internet is unstable, so excuse me for that. So that's what we aim for. That's what we dream for, and that's what we seek all to accomplish. And I hope that our efforts will pay off. Thanks
Yeah.
a lot for.
Thank you, Amal. Are you still there? As I understand the internet is having a challenge, but of course, we got you 5 on 5 and very clear. Africans need to tell their own story. If you didn't hear anything from Amal, take that with you. Africans need to tell their own story, because if we do not tell, if we do not tell our own story, then we allow others tell our story. And if they want to tell our story, then they coin the story in the best way they want to. And so we get to be portrayed in the lens of another person, just because we didn't put on our lens to tell our own story the way we want the world to see or hear about Africa. So it's about time to tell our story. And she mentioned that this is where the African students come in, not just those in the diaspora, but everyone comes in the face of research in the stories we tell, because sometimes also we give a very bad impression about Africa and where we come from, just for some other reasons which we are going to discuss another time. But before we forge ahead, I have some questions that just came in from our viewers on Facebook, and they ask about why should I, okay, it says, I leave my country to go abroad on a scholarship sponsored by the foreign government. I do research and they sponsor my research. And of course, because they sponsor my research, they choose a topic for me or a space for research. How then can I, after finishing studies, return to a country that never gave me an opportunity?
I would like to try to
Go
answer
ahead.
this question. I can definitely understand where this person is coming from, and thank you for being honest about how you feel about it. But again, I think there's this quote that I love that says there's no place like home. The reality is we are tied to Africa. We're tied to whatever country we are in within the African continent. So instead
Yeah.
of trying to pay them back in the coins that they paid you, I want you to rise higher. I want you to do better than our past leader. I want you to be a better woman than our current leaders. You cannot think the way they're thinking because it's this same kind of perception, this same kind of attitude of like, they didn't invest in me. Why should I? Because if everybody thinks that way, we are really doomed. There's no way forward, right? So what I'm going to say is like, I'll say on behalf of everybody, the country, the continent, I apologize for the first and foremost. But secondly, you have to have a better vision. Your
Yeah.
push, your motivation will be like, you know what? I want to do better. I want to do
Yeah.
better than what has been done for me. I want to leave a legacy that I want to build a better future for the Africa, for the now that you have this opportunity, now that you're using this opportunity to explore, once you're your own scholar on your own, that can be your
Yeah.
motivation. Like, you know, I want to be so rich, I want to be so resourceful, I want to be full of so much abundance that I'll go back and buy these universities or these educational places and create my own scholarship for students to study within my country and things like that. And so instead of asking, it's not about name blame the issue of blaming, name gaming. Don't let us,
Yeah.
yes, there are a lot of blames to pass around. So I'll
Of
say
course.
for this to stop, we have to be, the buck has to stop with us. Because if we continue to do tit for tat, we're not going to
Yeah.
get anywhere. We're going to stay stuck. And so what I would encourage you, what I would challenge you to do is like, I want you to be better. I want you to propose to say, you know what, because this was done to me, I am going to be the better woman in this situation. I'm going to be the better citizen. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to go back and plant the seed of goodness. Even though for you they didn't plant the right seed, they planted bad seed. I want you to be the one to plant the good seed. Because if we keep repeating the same circle, we'll just keep going back in the same circle. We're just going to go round and round and round, and nothing is going to change. We cannot break through. So the way to break through is like, you have to make up your mind and decide for yourself, my
Yeah.
value system is not going to be driven by what was done for me. Because if every one of us, we look at what was done to us, yes, we will not feel like doing anything or investing back into the continent. So I will encourage you to please and please, again, forgive. You don't have to forget, because I want you to use that as motivation to help you to push and be the best person you can be, to strive for being the most successful you can be, and then use that to plant good seed and lift other people up. And so don't be like them, don't do like them, you do better. Don't become bitter by this experience, you become better because of it. So that will be my charge.
Great. We heard that. Our viewer, I'm not calling the name, but I hope you heard that from Dr. Matola. She said, let it not make you a bitter person. Let it help you to be better, because sometimes we just have to think not just what Africa has done for us, for instance, or not just what Nigeria or Cameroon or Namibia has done for us, but we have to start thinking, what have we done for our various countries and what can we do? Because we really cannot change the odds that has been done to us, but we can change what the country becomes by always looking back where we come from, making a change and contributing in one way or the other by what we've gained outside there. I think the next question is almost in that line, but the person really puts it as a story and it's a bit touching. So I will just read it as she writes. I left the country for further studies abroad, and I gained so much knowledge in engineering. And then I thought it wise to come back home because I felt my country had a huge need for an engineer. I came home and several contracts I applied for, despite all the certificates I acquired in Europe, none was awarded to me. Constantly, the government issued these contracts to foreigners who came home and never did they ever transfer any form of technology. And the person puts in quotes, they do the best jobs by night, and by day they call the daily workers, they call us the daily workers to do the nasty jobs. I left the country after frustration of 2 years of not being able to secure a single contract, and I went back abroad. 6 months being abroad, the same government invites me to do contracts, and of course my taxes are paid abroad. How can I ever come back to such a country? Yeah, the researchers, the development experts, tell us, what can you tell this young engineer of a lady?
Maybe to come into this one, in my open remarks, remember I said our struggle has reached a defining moment. So it is that moment that us as young people, we must come to the party, not to be invited to the party. So what this young fellow must do is that she must, by any means necessary, try to come back to Africa and implement change and be a driver of change. How? Number one, occupy positions of influence so that you are able to change policies that will benefit fellow young Africans. Because if we continue and continuously walk away from problems, then we will be confronted by challenges that will come today, tomorrow, and never end. So, young people must occupy positions of influence, be it in government, be it in policy making, be it in the corporate. They must come and play a critical role. We can't let these old people continue occupying space and us young people, the crema de la cream of Africa, living. Africa is our continent. Africa is our motherland. It is incumbent to us to develop and drive the agenda of development of Africa that we want. So, in a nutshell, that's what I can say. They say each generation is a mandate to fulfill or betray. This is our mandate to break this Madonna syndrome, to break this old age syndrome that only old people can make decisions for Africa. Look at Agenda 2063. How many young people inputted in that agenda? It was a cocktail of old people. So it shows that Agenda 2063 planned by people who won't be around in 2063. It's a challenge. And young people, let's come to the party. Let's not wait for someone to invite us to the party.
Great, Alisa. Just to follow up on that, you mentioned that young people should come and occupy positions of influence. And yet we constantly find ourselves in situations where young people really want to be in these positions of influence. The setbacks are many, the barriers are many, I want to think, because we have leaders who have come to power. It's like they are power drunk. How can young people penetrate these spheres where there is so much, it's like a cartel of, I don't want to call them ancestors, but a cartel of leaders who would not let young people penetrate and show what they have within them. How do you expect them to penetrate this? Now, if they do not go by the government and they want to do business, to say, okay, if I can't do government, let me do private business. The taxes are killing. The taxes are destroying the various ambitions of these people. How can you convince them in the sphere of this cruelty committed by our own people on our own people? What can you tell them? Because it seems blocked from all angles.
I think the departure point to this issue will be number one. Let's build people to people solidarity among young people. The biggest challenge that we are having is that, for example, from the country where I come from, Zimbabwe, young people are not registered to vote. Then, when it comes to voting members of parliament, voting councillors, only the Madalas they go and vote. So, young people must register to vote as a departure point so that we are able to deploy our own in these power positions of influence. Number two, it's an issue that young people must learn to support other young people, not to be used by old people to decampaign other young people. So
That is a problem. That is a problem. The young people have become so greedy that, I mean, for very tiny, I would say even for $5, they would rather cast their votes to the very old ancestors, leaving the young people who have a dream, who have the energy to lead. But then how do you deconstruct the minds of these young people who are hungry for the moment, forgetting the future?
so where
So
I was coming to is number one. Yourself, let's say by virtue of luck, you are able to penetrate the market. Try by all means to open the door for other young people to come and also form part of that space and occupy, so that you are able to, because sometimes it's the issue of numbers. The more you are, the stronger you are. You become a network by opening doors for other young people to participate in platforms of influence. So let's not be gatekeepers as young people. Let's not have that mentality that I must be the only person to make it. But let's have that mentality that together we're stronger, we rise up as a collective. Then going forward, I think with that we can be able to penetrate these spaces that you are saying they are captured by a cartel or a mafia of old people.
Okay, Dr. Mashola, you were saying something.
Yes, I wanted to add to the conversation. Thank you for your perspective. And I think, yes, all of these are relevant. But back to the person's question, I want to say that something similar happened to me. So I left Nigeria in 2009 because I wanted to study social work. I realized that I wanted to be a social worker. We didn't have a course for bachelor's degree then for an undergraduate in social work. So I left Nigeria, came to the US to study social work. I got scholarship. Like I got scholarship. I was able to finish in 3 years. I was so excited. I started a non-profit organization, went back to Nigeria. Like I got the opportunity to become a US citizen. I turned it down. That was how passionate and how zealous I was for my country. I went back to Nigeria with excitement and hope and all. And
Yeah.
every step of the way, they shut me down. So I was studying education and youth development. I came up with an idea to
Okay.
tackle the issue of, every day, every almost once a year, they might go on strike for 4 months or 3 months. Students are going to be out of school, or in some public secondary and primary school system, they are supposed to have 10 subjects per semester. They only have 5 teachers. So I came up with a solution to say, you know what? Let me train young people who are currently in college about to graduate, or send graduates who have not found a job. We'll train them, we'll pay them. And so during the class period, when there are no teachers for these classes, let them come
Yeah.
and teach and train, because every year we see the examination report and 99% fail, 96% fail, and it used to bother me. And so they shut me down. They told me that no, I'm trying to make them look bad. I'm like, I don't care who get the credits. I just want to help the students. I just want to help the school system
Imagine.
be better. They shut us down and said they don't want us, they're blah 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 and all. So I had to go. And yes, it can be very annoying, because it's like, are you kidding me? Like, I left the US with I refused the US citizenship. I was so excited about. So I can definitely relate to what this person is feeling. But again, what I would say is, like, don't lose hope. Two, another thing I'll say is that, especially as whether you're a scholar, a student, a worker in that diaspora, you can be remote but not distant. So even though I'm
Yeah.
here in the US, guess what? I still do something in Nigeria every single year. That nonprofit is still in existence. So I found the other way.
Wow.
I went around them. So instead of doing it within the school, I turned it into an after school program. So they will have the
Okay.
student from 2, then they can come to my center from 2:30 to 6 p.m., and we're going to provide that for them as well, and other things that we
Great.
develop every single year. I'm doing something. So what I would encourage you is, like, you continue to be the best you can be so good that you cannot be, because guess what? And this is, I'm going to use a biblical reference, but again, don't take it as an issue of religion. Like, there's a Bible
Yeah.
that said, "Do you see a person diligent in his work? It will stand before kings and not mere men." I know that in
Yeah.
most of these African countries, they like influence, they like people that have power, that have influence
Yeah.
and talent, all. So what I would say is, like, you keep developing yourself. You keep working to be better. You keep working to be excellent. And any opportunity you have, if you can create your own company, if you can create your own project, and you can figure
Yeah.
out, because you can figure out time within the year that maybe you can be on the continent for like 2-3 months or something, and can work your project there. I'll give you an example. Like I said, even though I'm here, I might be remote, but I'm not distant. Every summer, starting
Yeah.
in May, I have a project that I do for youth, where we train them on entrepreneurship and vocational skill sets. I get grants, and then I use that grant and send it back to Nigeria to train 20 students that either they don't have any educational prospects, they cannot survive in the formal education system. Say, I don't want you to just be a job seeker. What if you become a job creator? Let me open up your mind. Let me help you see the possibility beyond the normal formal education route, because that may not be the case for everybody. That's not what everybody can do. And so again, so you have to
Yeah.
be remote and not distance in the way that you can do. So what I would say is like encourage yourself, use this as well. Again, use all of these experiences as well to be so good that you cannot be ignored. And then also again, do what you can do, and you do better than the rest. You, all the things you don't like in what happened, where they will do the nice work and they will make you do the hard work, you be the opposite of those people as well. So you live by example, create your set
Yeah.
of values. These are the things I'm going to value, this is what I'm going. And then I want to say, think of Nelson Mandela. He's one of my 5 heroes. If you look at this picture behind me, I have like, I call them my 5 fabulous mentors. It's Jesus, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, now Nelson Mandela, and Mother Teresa. Those are my 5 fabulous mentors. So whether I'm teaching in
Ah.
a Zoom call or something, I'm always remembering their lives. So I want to use the example of Nelson Mandela. He stood his ground. He was in prison for 27 years for something he believed in. He did not give up. He did not give in, no matter all everything. They took away his freedom. They said all kind of things about him. They punished him. They make him starve. But what did he do? He did not give up on this belief that everyone in South Africa, whether black or white, they have the right. And eventually, what did he become? He became one of the greatest presidents they've ever had, right? And so just because you're young, you're energetic, but again, think of it as a long game. We're not playing a short-term game. Whatever it is, the result we're trying to see is not going to, because if we try to see result in 1 hour, in 1 year, that is putting bandage on something that needs surgery. So for us, because the root of the problem, the root cause, it has been happening for years, for centuries. We can't just overturn it in 1 year. All of these hierarchy, all of these preferential treatment of giving other people that don't qualify. You just keep your process. You don't compromise what you stand for and your value, no matter what is going on. And it's going to take persistence. You have to be willing to persist in the face of obstacles. So again, draw strength from Nelson Mandela. No matter the oppression, he stayed in prison for 27 years for
Yeah.
something he didn't do anything bad on. And so I want that to fuel you, and I want that to encourage you that this journey is not it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's going to take time. And so I want you to keep building up yourself, keep encouraging yourself. Don't give up. And again, if you have to be remote right now, it's okay, but you don't have to be distant. When I started my
Of
nonprofit,
course.
before I even started my nonprofit, I was already working, connecting with students within Nigeria who were on strike. That was how I came up with my workforce team. And even after I came back for my master's, I came back here for my PhD, I still work. So even though I'm currently in the US, my influence is still felt in Nigeria. I still have a WhatsApp group. Thank God for technology. I still have students. I still have youth that I'm pouring into their life. And so in whatever industry, whether that's for profit, non-profit, wherever you're going, you can still do something. You can think outside of the box. Don't think that you have to be physically there to make a difference. Start thinking of
Exactly.
how can I leverage that for the good of the continent, for the good of my country. And again, when in doubt, when you feel defeated, when you feel like giving up, think of Nelson Mandela. Think of what he stood for.
Yeah.
Think of what he suffered through for something that he believed in. And if you truly believe in what you're trying to do and the change you're trying to see, then don't
Yeah.
compromise, don't give up, and keep persisting. And I promise you, in due time, you're going to win. But again, think long term. Don't think short
Certainly.
term. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So take your time,
Of
use this as
course.
time to prepare, and before you know it, you're going to get there. But again, be patient with the process, keep doing your part, don't give up, and keep persisting and being consistent. And before you know it, things are going to add up.
Thank you so much, Dr. Matwala. That was powerful. Thank you for giving us that green light. You can be remote but not distant, of course. You can be remote. So that is to our people in the diaspora. You can contribute so much to the free movement of persons protocol. It doesn't mean you have to come back home to make that happen. You can still be remote, but not distant. So this question from the next person, I think it's really directed to Amal. Amal, can you hear me 5 on 5? Can you hear me well?
Okay, I can hear you,
Yeah.
but not very well.
Oh, I hope you get the question. So the person is asking that you are in the field of development, and you made mention that Africans should tell their own story. And this person is asking, how can we tell our own story where we are not given the opportunity to tell the story? And the whole idea is, if we are to tell our stories, then I believe we can better tell these stories through our research. But if I should write a research, it is more difficult to publish within the African publishing houses than in the foreign publishing houses. So how can I push the African story, even if I were to write on, for instance, the integration of Africa and its benefits?
Okay, can you send me the rest of, yes?
Okay. Thank you, Matala, for that.
Okay, I'm trying to read the question because I couldn't hear.
Yeah. So the person wants to know exactly how can they, I mean, he says he can write on the integration of Africa because he believes that one way that the diaspora could also help could be through research. And this is how they could tell their own stories, how Africa can be greater if they are integrated. But then their research is difficult to publish within African publishing houses, and there are few also African publishing houses. But how can they succeed to tell the African story in the foreign houses or publishing houses?
Did you get that, Amma?
Well, it doesn't. Yes, I heard most of it. So the thing is that we don't have to tell our story by publishing a research. We doesn't have to reach the top of the stairs at the beginning. We need to be patient. We need to have like a snowball strategy. We need to have sessions together with the youth to come up with ideas, to tell their stories, and then we can use the social media, and we can use other NGOs to enforce our words, our statements, and then we can reach after time to the publishing of the research. And what we are talking about today is the ratification of this protocol, the importance of this protocol. It will open the borders for us to publish, to tell our stories, to research our situations, and to fix our all the challenges that we have. But it will not happen instantly. We have to work hard. We have to build the step by step in order to reach this goal.
Yeah.
To add to
And
that
this is
as
the
well,
core of
like what
development. Okay.
Amal, we can hear you.
Yes.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
I got. Okay. So, did I understood the question well?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was going to add to
The
what
student
Amma said.
unions.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Amma.
go
I
ahead.
thought you were done. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish.
Okay.
Finish. Go ahead.
It's the internet. I don't know what's happening today.
Go ahead.
Okay. So it's important for everyone in his own community to have a good, strong connections with the local NGOs in his country. Because there is like some gap between the youth and the NGOs and the the youth organizations. So the linkage and connection between these organizations will give them voices. It will strengthen their skills and strengthen how they will shape their future. So this should be the first step for anyone who wants to have to tell his story, to have impact, to give impact.
Okay. So you are saying that it's better to liaise with the NGOs back home, uh, who can help you to promote. Are they also going to help you to perhaps publish this research?
Yes, of course. This it could be not a personal research. It could be a collaborative one, because everyone has his input,
Okay.
and it will give more. It will have more impact, in my opinion.
Okay, great. So we have to work also with the communities, the grassroots. It's not just from the diaspora, but we need to liaise also with those on ground in terms of the grassroots. Yes, Omotola, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I was just saying to what Hama said about social media. Like again, research is not the only pathway. So I don't want you to get discouraged and think that research is the only tools that you have. Like now, if you look at this world of social media, think of TikTok, think of YouTube, think of Facebook, think of Twitter, think of Instagram. There are now many pathways, and now more people want to consume things through informal ways than formal ways anyway. So while you're waiting for the funding or the collaboration or the even the approval to do research, I want you to start documenting your experience with through video, through audio, and now you can do it freely. Open up a YouTube channel, blog about your experience, put hashtag there. You never know what is going to go viral. Another way that you can make it powerful to get more ballers is to find other people who are living that reality and be the one to curate the story as well and share and tag all of these important people or stakeholders that you think need to be part of the conversation and to hear that as well. And so while you wait for the research to be published and all, I would say use what you have. Your phone, like most of us, we have a phone that has a camera that can do video. That can be a
Yeah.
powerful tool. So start small while you're thinking big. Yes, it's great. Research can have a bigger influence and all. It can be seen as an authority. But while you're waiting for that to happen, you can still start doing something. So start small and say, what do I have right now? All of us, we have something we can use. You have your voice. You have some freedom and privacy right now that you're not you're not in a country where they restrict your freedom
Yeah.
of press and freedom of being on social media, right? And so you use what you have right now while you're waiting for the ones that you want in the future. Use what you have right now to create your voice, to create the story, and share a day in the life of, or share the reality of. You can even have a series. Maybe you can get 12 people. Maybe you go on the Facebook page that is full of African students all over and say, does anybody have a story about this issue? And there'll be a lot of people that will raise their hand or say, yes, I do, or something. Imagine if you can do a YouTube.
Like, is it my network? I feel like I lost you.
I think it's your network. I'm still here. Can you still hear me?
Alisa, can you hear her, or is it just me?
Yes, I can hear you.
No,
Okay.
I can hear.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Okay.
But again, just use informal ways and start with what you have. So while you're waiting for perfection and everything, start with what you have. And before you know it, you're going to gain momentum. And again, see it as a long-term game, like step by step. You know, for any goal that you have, there may be a short-term outcome, a medium-term, and a long-term. So don't think that it must happen
Sure.
now, the research must happen now. So start with what you have, use what you have, and leverage that until you get to the next step, to the next step, and to the next stage in being able to publish and really showcase it in the way that you want to. So start with what you have and use the tools you already have right now.
Thank you so much. Start with what you have and use the tools which you have until we get to the point of publishing. So we are really, really fighting with time, but we have so much that I really wanted us to discuss. But I also want to hear from Alisa, who has been in so much research and you've been dealing with students. Because today we have a lot, since our theme was around students, especially students in the diaspora, and they are still waiting to know what they can do concretely. What they can do. Just give us the bullet points so they know already what they can do to help foster the free movement of persons protocol. We want to hear the bullet points from you. We want to get the bullet points from Omotola, and we want to get the bullet points from Amal. So let's just have them flow in so those in the diaspora know exactly pick even one of these points and start working on it. So, Alisa, can you help us with that?
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. I think as a departure point, boss, already we're speaking of social media. I think number one, the biggest tool of all of them is the social media now. Where are young people are
Okay.
found? They are found on TikTok, they are found on Facebook, they are found on Instagram. So let's popularize our advocates on social media. Number two, the issue of podcast. Let's have podcast discussion like this on different topics on how the protocol can help young people be diaspora or locally in Africa. Then number three, let's drive a serious, robust campaign that will even take our government or who have not yet ratified or signed the protocol to do so. So these are my three key bullet points.
Exactly, and we need to make use of the social media. We have tons of youths on the social media for the wrong reasons. Yes, for the wrong reasons. So please start using your social media to do something constructive, like sharing. Even after mobile is here, and they are fighting every day. We have the social media handles on Twitter, we have it on Facebook, we have it on Instagram, and what have you. Start to share some of these platforms that are fighting for this protocol, because we all stand to benefit if these protocols are ratified. We heard Dr. Brown say we still need 11 more signatures. We need 11 more countries to ratify. You never know where a hashtag can get to. So we can start by doing the social media works, take it as an assignment, and of course, Alisa mentioned a robust campaign. There is nothing good that comes easily. We need to do this robust campaign if we study. And of course, the diaspora, you can do a lot in terms of all of what he has mentioned. Social media, you are apt. You have all the tools, you have all the platforms, use it wisely. The robust campaign, you are still out in the diaspora. Besides the research, besides all the paper and pen work, we can use the various tools at our disposal, as Omotola mentioned, and do a robust campaign. And you never know where this campaign can get to. Every little tiny drop of action matters in this. Do not think your media account, because you have one follower or no one is on, no one is following you, then it's insignificant. It is not. You just don't know who might stumble on it, and it could make a huge difference. It's better to make an effort than neglect it and regret later. It's a cause we all Africans need to indulge and engage in. So let's hear from Omatola, your bullet points.
Yes, so one major one will be beyond social media, like use your voice, speak to your people that are representing you either in Senate or House of Representative, your governor in your county and your local government. You have a right to them. They are public officers. Imagine if you petition them, you consistently call and become a pest every single day, saying, what is your stand on it? What is your take on it? When is and you get your friends, you get your family members to say, you know what, I want us to put pressure for 1 month. Let's keep calling this office. Let's keep emailing them. Let's keep tagging them on social media to say, what are you doing about this? Give us a timeline and all. So again, that can be powerful. So through those that traditional pulling people together and just calling, you have a right to those representatives. If they're representing your county, they're representing your local government, your city, your state, you have a right to them. And so whether they're in Senate, they are chairmen of local government, chairmen of counties, Senate, or House of Representative member, governors, use that opportunity and call them out respectfully, of course. Like use email. Imagine if they can get 100 messages daily, consistently across all of their platform. I think they can take that seriously. So that's one way that we can work. And then also with as African networks in different countries across the world, let's use our association. We have a strong African network association. And so let's use that when we have our monthly meetings, weekly meetings, are gathering together. Let's put that on our topic agenda to say, how can we talk to all of our embassies? A lot of these countries, African countries, they have embassies in all over the world, wherever we are situated. So imagine the same thing we are applying locally, calling, emailing our representative. Let's do the same thing for our embassies to say, this is an issue. can you get it? Because they might have the power to get it across even faster to the people that has to make the decision as well. So even though we are here, again, be remote but not distant. So we have embassies in different countries that we're in. Let's call them, let's email them, let's show up in person if your city is closer to that place as well, and talk to them about these protocol and how they can, what they're doing about it, and what's the timeline and what they can do to put pressure to get it moving forward.
Thank you so much. So we need to call them out. The representatives are there for us. We put them in power, we vote for them, and so you need to disturb them until they hear the call. Sometimes they are not so busy as you think they are, but the more you disturb them, the more they receive the emails, the more they receive the hashtags, the more they see the calls and the petition the stakeholders, call them out constantly, and who knows, they might just hit the call. And of course, the African network associations, when you go to these reunions, do not just eat and drink and marry. Think of this cause, the free movement of persons in Africa. Ask yourselves, is this on your agenda? If you already have an association of Africans in the diaspora, start thinking, do we have anything to do with the free movement of persons in Africa? Who would it benefit? What can we do? What are some of the affirmative actions you can do from your various countries or wherever you find yourself that will help to leverage this protocol in your various countries? What can you do that will push your government to sign, not just sign, but to ratify these treaties so that we can all benefit, so that I can travel freely to Nigeria, so I can travel to the Gambia, travel to Sierra Leone without being asked all the bottlenecks and the passports and all clearances, and of course, the very huge and burdensome visa fees which you have to pay. The visa fee between African countries is something else, something to discuss on another day, because they are higher than when you have to pay for visa fees out of the African continent. And we need to start asking why. And now to Amal, let's hear your bullet points on this. What can these students in the diaspora start doing to make a change on this protocol?
Students in diaspora, they have to be ambassadors for this campaign. They have to exert every opportunity they have to share about the initiative, to share about the challenges and the opportunities that come out of this free movement protocol. They have to be sharing with their networks, their other students and scholars, and in any conferences, in any associations that they cooperate with, and with their family members, of course, using all the platforms of social media, so that they can transfer their knowledge, their voices, and their the importance of this campaign. And this can have a great impact. The persistence of using all the platforms will have this protocol enforced. It will put huge pressure on all the policymakers on the urgency and importance of this, and this can really have a great impact. So this is not a small road, this is a big road they can do even if they are distant.
Certainly. Are you done, Amal? Yes? Great. So you need to use your immediate platforms and opportunities to advocate. That's what Amal says. And above all, you need to be an ambassador of the protocol. We all said that this is a role, it's a responsibility to every son and daughter of Africa. Feel the responsibility, be an ambassador of it, do the little you can, and transfer this knowledge wherever you find yourself. It's a duty to talk about it. Rwanda has gone forward. Niger has taken a step. Sao Tome and Principe have taken a step. Mali has taken a step. Yet the lots are still behind. And it's our duty to keep pushing, because we need just 11 more to go. It's not a lot. We're not asking all African states or African countries to sign this. We need just 11 more to go. And of course, it does have an expiry date. So we need to tighten our belts and do more of the activism, and activism for the right reasons. Let's pull together, put our forces together to make sure that this protocol, it doesn't just remain on paper, it doesn't just remain shelved at the AU, but that we see it come to reality. That the African passport will not just be a lofty, beautiful idea like the other beautiful ideas that we've made, but that it will be something that we would say we are proud of and that we took part in one way or the other to make it a reality. And now, before we go to the end of the show, because we are really running out of time and we've taken beyond your 1 hour, but we are grateful because we know you're still seated on your couches and listening to these beautiful conversations, which could drag on for hours and hours because our guests have so much to deliver. But I'm afraid we have to come towards the end of it. So I give to our guests 30 seconds or 1 minute? 1 minute for your last words. 1 minute. 1 minute. The clock is ticking. And so who do we start with? Amal, do you want to start? One last word for the audience.
Okay. I want to thank you for this fruitful discussions and for the hope that you give for the continent. And I have great aspiration for this protocol to get the ratification. We all will work together to combine our experiences, our knowledge, our connections, and everything to move forward and to have results.
Yeah.
And this is the networking and connection. This is what will fasten the process. All of us collaborating on the same cause is what will bring this on reality soon.
Certainly.
So I look forward for the next steps, and I thank you for this evening discussion.
Thank you so much, Amal. Of course, it's been a pleasure to have you share your experience, share the knowledge you have with us on the platform, and of course with the entire world watching us. It's been beautiful, and of course we hope that we will collaborate, as Amal says. She said it's a collaborative effort. It doesn't end here. Beyond this, beyond these talks, beyond what we've just said today, it takes so many of us to make this come true. So let us collaborate and make sure we contribute our quota. Do not wait for anyone else to do so, because you have a role, you have a responsibility, and you have an obligation to Mama Africa to make this come true, because we want to be a borderless Africa, an Africa where we go beyond the broken lines that we were given, the broken lines that we were handed over. We don't want to have handouts. We heard that earlier. Please feel responsible for this cause and join the movement for the free movement of persons, especially our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. You have a voice, you have an energy that is so much needed in this cause. Just like we've pulled it in all other causes, this is time again for the diaspora to stand up, to put on that same energy and see us through this protocol on the free movement of persons, so that perhaps I might just move to Namibia and decide to settle there without being bothered about the rights of residence or the rights of establishment, because I will be identified as an African and not as a Cameroonian. So our next will be Dr. Omotola. Your last words for the audience.
Yes, I'll say thank you again for this platform and bringing us all together. Already, you're leading by example. See, you're Cameroon, there's Zimbabwe, there's Egypt, there's Nigerians. We're all over, and already through this 1 hour plus, we've shared a lot, we've brought a lot. Each of us, we are thinking differently because of this platform. So what I would say is that while we are thinking of a physical borderlessness, let us also start implementing it now through technology. Now that we have technology, let's keep the conversation going. Let's start sharing ideas, because we don't have to wait until everything is perfect. Again, let's start with what we have. What can we use right now? How can we start creating ideas? What can we do technologically that can make that will start helping us see this borderless movement go. What before we get to the physical version of it and things, how can we start initiating change and sharing ideas that people can implement and helping each other out and collaborating on projects to work out. And then also I'll say don't give up. That I know it's hard, I know it's not easy, I know sometimes it can feel like you're fighting a war that you cannot win, but I promise you, if you continue to persist, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So thank you for what you're doing right now. And I'm going to again, I will apologize for the future. Yes, you're going to get attacked. Yes, you're going to get attacked. Do not lose hope. Remember Nelson Mandela. Remember all the leaders that have gone ahead of us who did not give up. Even they didn't have what we have. Nelson Mandela didn't have technology the way that we have it, or social media the way that we have it now. And so we're still more privileged than those leaders. And if they can still make significant change happen despite the challenges that they face, whatever obstacles, whatever challenge that we face, we can handle it. We are made for that. We are built for it. And so when you feel like getting discouraged, remember our former leaders, remember the people that have already laid the groundwork for us, the foundation for us. We are just building the pillars. And so don't stop building the pillar and just don't lose hope. Do not lose hope no matter what. Thank you.
Do not lose hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Africa will see light again, and Africa will be great because Africans are great. Already we are great, and so what is left is for us to make the soil on which we were birthed, the soil of our birth, Mama Africa, great because we have what it takes. All we need is the willpower. And this is a platform also we use to ask our leaders, our esteemed leaders, because we know that they hear us, we know that they see us. We ask for the opportunity to contribute to the quota, to be able to bring back the technology, to be able to bring change. We ask for the opportunity, just the opportunity and nothing more. And the diaspora, we believe, can do great things if given the opportunity to contribute to what Africa can best be. And of course, our last guest, who will be giving us his laughter, Alisa, who has had tons of researches. I'm sure we'll be reading more and talking more from that after this. But please just give the audience your last word.
Thank you very much, Chair of the session. First, before most, I would like to appreciate you for moderating such a good platform for us to engage as people coming from different backgrounds and cultural backgrounds. But the priority number one is that you are African who are living in different cities of Africa. So my parting message will be to the young people in the diaspora. Let's utilize the tools that we have, the opportunity that we have. We have technology on our side. We have innovative ideas as young people on our side. Let's take our governments, let's take all the stakeholders involved that can make the fulfillment of free movement of people protocol to come to a reality. It is our time. Yes, we can. The moment is now. It's now or never. There's nothing for us without us. Young people at the center of development. Thank you.
It is our time now or never. The young people are the center of development. I love that conclusion because we have the tools, the young people, we have the technology, and of course we have the innovative skills. Thank you so much, Alisa, for those powerful words as we part with our audience. And I cannot leave without telling our audience, thank you so much for being always loyal. We see you and we hear you. If we didn't answer your questions, we will get back to you on the platform. But it's been amazing having all these beautiful girls. Thank you, Dr. Omatola. Thank you, Amar, and thank you, Alisa. I am pleased and hope to have you some other time on this same platform. And of course, I want to give shout outs to the Yatemopa team behind the technical platform, playing all the magic and making sure we stay live. We are super grateful and we love you, Africa. We love you, our brothers and sisters. Let's unite and pull the force so that we can make Africa great. And that 2063 will not be a failure, but it will be a year, even if we are not there, but our children shall rejoice because we made an effort to see that we have a borderless Africa. Thank you all so much and have a beautiful rest of your night. For those who are in the night and for those who are in the morning, have a blessed day with your activities. Love you all and bye from the studio.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you.